I came across there last week about forming a forum or community where the players can share their tricks or strategy when playing games, and yeah, that's something different with guild, but something that is can be part of the guild. I mean, the guild is a greater idea. I mean, it's very cool. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have YouTube blocked to you? I'm assuming you can probably get to it.
YouTube blog.
Yeah.
Yes, I can view. I mean, I understand it's YouTube, right? I can view YouTube.
Okay. You guys call it YouTube?
Do you mean YouTube? What's the YouTube blog? Sorry.
Oh, what is a what?
You just say, can I get the YouTube blog? I
Uh,
didn't get the idea. Yeah, sorry.
no, you're fine. For instance, I was trying to ask you if you can access YouTube. Can you go to www.youtube.com?
Yes, most people in China cannot, but I can. Yeah.
Because you know how to do it.
Yes.
They're never going to be able to make the internet. They're never going to be able to control it with people like you guys. Okay, anyway, hold on a second.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I make a way that can make other people private in group that can access. That's something people. I mean, in China, most people cannot access some website, but for the people in our community, they can always find ways to do that.
Well, here, I'll show you. There are channels, okay, that actually focus on teaching people how to play. And normally what you'll have is people like, say I was running some pretty big guilds. They weren't the biggest guilds, but they were pretty big. And it took a long time to do it. But I could have taken the knowledge that I had of the game, and I could have made screen captures using, for instance, Fraps or any other kind of screen capturing program to make my own videos to tell people how to do things. And then I could use something like Windows Movie Maker to occasionally put in some text in the movie and layer it on top of it, export it to YouTube, and I'm a guild master, and I'm also doing that. So what I do is I create this community around me, which is exactly what you are doing, which is exactly what Dan has been doing. And what you're doing is you're creating a community around you who have learned from you. So now those people, because they've learned how to do things best, you are not having to go and teach each one of them. That's number one, because you've used technology to make it so it makes you more efficient at teaching, right? And what you do is you say, okay, if you're having a problem in this part of the raid, I want you to watch this part of a video. And I'll show you, we talk about everything, how you're supposed to do it, how the fight's supposed to go. Or if you don't know how to do this, I'll make a video for it. And you can do that and create your own channel of television where everybody now can create their own channels, and that's a good thing, right? Because what you're doing to gaming, they're doing. YouTube has largely done. Of course, they've restricted it a little bit because it's too centralized. But they've actually enabled the same thing for television. You or me could make our own channels, right? So we're going to want to have a place on your forums for that too, like YouTube channels or stuff like that. Like you can make yourself a guild portal though. And you're right. There's so much to tell you about, man. I didn't realize what you know or what you don't know. I'm going to teach you what I do know, if that's okay.
Yeah, I like these kind of ideas. Yeah.
Maybe you can teach me a little bit more about the technical side of some things to tell me whenever I'm off on something, though. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'm very big glad to share this.
I'm going to show you real quick one of what I was talking about. And I'm also going to ask you if you could keep in your mind trying to help me get some other people reaching out to the guys who made Craft Coin. I'm having a really hard time contacting them. But I think if we swarm them, we can get them, because there's actually a Minecraft game out right now where you actually mine in the game and you can have a chance of winning Bitcoin. So there's other stuff that, you can do. It's going to take a while, but if you keep up with this man, like 3 or 4 years from now, these things are going to be, this BitShares play is going to be huge.
Hello, by the way. I think the area that it's really going to grow is like live streaming and esports, as well as sort of guild-based stuff as well.
Definitely. But what do they do? Guilds naturally form around those same esports, right?
Yeah, it's a similar thing. So in an esports, you'll have maybe 5 to 20 people on a team, whereas in a guild, you'll maybe have, 50 to 200 people.
What do they have as far as, what do they call them? Do they just call them teams?
Yeah, it probably always teams. It's going to depend on individual games. I mean, you have like clans, I suppose.
Yeah, okay, so it's basically the same thing, just different wording, right?
Yeah.
So,
they're normally sort of smaller, more tightly knit, like 10 or so individuals that know each other really, really well and play every night together, rather than like a whole extended guild family.
Oh, I got you. So they don't normally cross over between games.
Some can. But if you want to get really good at one game, you're going to play just that one game over and over and over again.
Yeah, okay. So we're talking about, like, what you're saying is the attributes of the group is a little bit lower because the game doesn't dictate you have quite as large of groups.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think that's the area that, like, guilds have already been established for like 10 years or so, but like esports team, that's the thing I think that's really exploding at the moment.
I think you're right. Oh, I definitely think you're right. I just see the way I see it, and you can disagree or agree. I'm just going to say how, like, I see it as more a sociological thing, like a tendency for people to really like to form together in groups. Like, for instance, like in the esports, they are going to be smaller, more mobile groups. You know what I mean? Now, with guilds and stuff like that, they're groups, and they're very similar. The only thing is that the game mechanics dictate that the group can grow in a different way. So I know that my brother was saying that League of Legends pulled in more people than the World Series last year.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. League of Legends and Dota 2 as well, those are like the ones at the moment. CSGO a little bit, I think.
Do you have anything? I mean, I'm sure at Dillium they got stuff like that for you guys too, right? For esports. Like
what's that specific?
Like teaching people tactics and things like that.
Yeah, you get these groups that often charge sometimes like in-game items and things like that, and if you join up to them, they'll you can pair up with somebody who can mentor you, and you'll pay him very small amounts, pennies worth of stuff, but it'll be in-game items, just because you can trade with that. And it's amazing the kind of the economies that are popping up in these games. Like if you look at Team Fortress 2 and you look at the hat economy, it's crazy. So a lot of gamers now understand sort of being merchants and trading. So any cryptocurrencies, they're just going to be at home with, basically.
Oh yeah, that's actually I've told other people, but the reason why I I loved Bitcoin was because I started botting in World of Warcraft, and my last guild that I created was just a kind of a play guild where I tried to like get kids mostly who like couldn't get into games because they were too young, and just like give them. I was tired of like raiding and doing all that stuff. I just liked the community aspect of it. And what we would do is I would bot and I would sell the stuff, and we would like give the kids everything, like if they got a good grade on their report card or something like that, and we could talk to their parents, we would give them some gold and stuff like that because the bots worked, right? But then it got to the point where eventually that guild died, and I still had this bot, and I started making real dang money off of it because I started selling it to guys from China, who were reselling it to other people around the world at a profit. And you're right, man. Like, gaming just gets you ready for this. Whenever you see stuff like Bitcoin, it makes sense to you.
There's also a lot of betting going on, like the betting on the outcome of matches.
Yes.
So, like in CS:GO, everyone's betting skins basically for they'll put in a load of skins and say, "I think this team's going to win this match."
So, hey, what do you think? Hackfisher is wanting to know what the positives and negatives are about having a forum. What do you think for them having their own separate forum would be?
I suppose it's good. I like the way that we've done that with the marketing because it enables us to really go over ideas. The problem lies in sharing information between a main forum and sort of a side forum.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we should do that, because the one problem that I'm running into on the BitShares forum is that there are people who really get pissed off about me posting stuff on there. It's like I'm kind of tribal in the BitShares system a little bit, okay? So I can understand it. But people get like really PO'd and think that I'm off topic whenever I post about BitShares play. So I don't know, like, I've been thinking about that aspect of it. So you think it would be worth it just to keep going?
I think a centralized place for play would be a good idea. I'm voting for a separate forum, but the risk is that you lose information, you lose communication between the two forums. As long as kind of like community representatives that therefore go forward and post stuff on the main forums and say, "Hey, this is what we've been doing over here," then I think I'd be for it.
Well, if you guys look up this guy, I'll show you two things right now. Well, first off, I've got www.bitsharesgalaxy.com or bitsharesuniverse.com, and I've got it. I figure that what we could probably do is, I don't know how much you've got, Hack, or how much all of the different people who have a DAC or have like to pitch in toward it, but I would give it up to the community for free if we could have like a portal, like it's like a space portal, you know, like maybe a Flash type of thing where you click on different planets in a solar system or something, or like different stars in a galaxy, and we could basically say that this is, you know, it would be a portal where that's all you do is you just go from there. You can pop it up, you know what I mean? You can go to any of the BitShares forums, like the legitimate badass forums.
What? So it would link you to like everything in the
Yeah.
universe, like all the other projects going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good idea to have such a portal if the DEX in BitShares community, because they're for now, for example, for play, for music, and for BitShares, they are separate. It's a good idea to have such kind of portal, and there could be more and more such DEX. For example, PTS, maybe they can be alive again, and not some other DEX which will probably coming up.
And what do you guys think about then? What we could do is we could get all the different BitShares BitShares DACs, because I think they're gonna keep releasing their own DACs, right? So what we essentially do is we could have it where every forum has its own like little section for Portal itself. You know what I mean? Like where instead of me clicking and going into a sub thread when I click on BitShares Play, I actually go to BitShares Play forum, and then vice versa for the other websites, the other forums. That way you basically have one-click access to any of the forums from any of the pages, and you have one portal page where everybody can go to. It's appealing to the eye, especially with, you know, the space theme, since Stan is a rocket scientist.
Yeah, good point. He'll love that.
Yeah, he does love that. I've actually come to the conclusion that like I've kind of been sold on it too. It was really cool to me whenever we started out, like, and you didn't realize why he was so into space, but then you realize afterwards. We don't have dummies over here, that's for sure. So Hackfisher, what do you think? Like, are you noticing some of the stuff? Do you have any questions specifically? Because I actually kind of agree that I think that the model will work economically. I just think that you're gonna have to change stuff on the front end too.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It did our way to try it, and I tend to move to a separate forum anyway. But before that, we should find the ways how we move to there, because for example, just as what you said, maybe we could have such a kind of portal for the community members to share informations or communication between these kind of two forums. If we can have that way, it will be great. Yeah.
And I'm also hoping that later on I can start getting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to find delegates or people that I want to be delegates, and I want to get them. I want to get it set up so we start having like a school for people to become delegates. That way, there's a lot of good, solid competition. But anyway, because I think it's going to be kind of hard, the delegate thing for games, until you guys have like a really easy like interface for it and different things. But
and another thing I want to have a new forum because is that BitShares Play is focusing on the gaming industry. So the community members we want to attract is not only the members from the crypto world, but also the members from the game industry, the players, and the game world.
okay, Adelium, if you were to have a forum, what would be on it? What things do you think? I mean, obviously they'd probably want to put some ads up for different like games, because that would be really good to get them connections.
Yes,
What?
actually, I came across a idea that people can share, I mean, the tricks of their experience in games, so that people can, it's kind of like Reddit. I mean, people can get points from their good experience, and these points can sell on playback and on the forum. And in another way, the ads on the forum can be used to sell for peers to buy those points. So be kind of loop, but it will take a lot of resource from the team. So I would better to give the idea to the community. So for some other guy who is interested in this idea, they can build this.
So you're saying like give the forum the ability. I mean, the people, the community of the forum, the ability to say what they want on it.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the firm will have two kind of assets. The first one is ADCoin, which could be used to buy it on some kind of forum. The second one is called Point. It will be given to the contributors to the forum, and this kind of asset can be buy or sell on the play deck, just like game assets or game coins. So they can form a kind of loop. I mean, the contributors will attract ads and will give the value to the ad coins, and the revenue from the game 80 coins were used to buy these points. Some kind of idea, yeah. So I would better to some other guy to who is interested in this, they can try to implement this.
That makes sense, man. So once that's done, is it open source code or is it going to be closed sourced or?
The advantage is that all these transactions or activities are in the playdeck, so they are transparent. So this kind of I can imagine that this could be a good model for the forums, especially for those business forums. I mean, for those forums, they want to have users contribute good content, and they can autonomous. Even maybe not decentralized, but they can autonomous, but their assets are put in some kind of deck, just like play.
Yeah, it's just a parked page. That's what I've got right now.
And the why I came across this idea is about another debate over the past 2 weeks in our team is about how could we attract the content providers from game industry and how we could affect the game industry in some sense, because we do not have so many users, especially for the ecosystem in China. We cannot, I mean, we communicate with a lot of game content providers. The most concerns for them is how could they, or do we have the users share the revenue, they share the profit from with the other platforms, because those platforms has ways to get the users. But for BitShares Play, if we want them to put the asset exchange or the game store on BitShares Play, how could we get these users? So we have some kind of debate on how to get the users to the BitShares Play community. I think forum is a way that we can achieve that in some sense. I mean, for example, for guild or for the channels or for the subforum or topics, people from the game world, they could be interested in the crypto world or the game, the ideas, the new things we bring to the game work. In this way, we can have people be getting involved in the play deck.
So it'll be through the forums. So you've really been thinking about the forums too, right?
Yes, I set up some kind of channel for those. I tend to build that by ourselves, but that's just an idea. I just try some prototype on BitShares on PlayShares.io, which is I used another forum framework, which is called I think it is Discourse, which is different from the framework we are using now.
It'll be Discuss the
Discourse. Oh,
yeah, that's what I take a look at. Yeah, it's
discourse.com.
Yeah, Discourse, Ruby on Rails framework that is built to build a kind of forum. Their structure is more like channels and tags or category that we can form in a structure that is more simple, I think.
Huh.
One thing to take advantage of at the moment is I don't know if anyone's made a decentralized image board, like a Chan board, but that might be a really good idea.
Oh yeah, especially for gaming, being able to spray stuff up.
Yeah, like the gaming community and the people in it are really creative and just love to share stuff like that. So it really needs the capability of lots and lots of images, and that might be in the form of an image board. 4chan have had a whole load of problems with aggressive moderation, and lots of people have left 4chan because they don't like the moderation. So something that was decentralized could be something huge right now.
Would that be a DAC on its own, though?
It could be.
Yeah, man. We need to. Why don't you send that off to Stan and Dan?
I might do. I've just thought about it. But it's perfect timing because everyone's just fled 4chan for other things.
Hey, go write it down so you don't forget about it. That's actually a really good idea.
The only problem with that it would be that people would post illegal stuff to it, though.
Hey, it's decentralized.
Yeah, if it was a separate thing, if it was a separate DAC, then I think it'd be okay. If you had it as part of play or something like that, you might get criticized for that. But if it itself was separate, then I think you'd be okay with, even if people were posting, really horrible stuff.
Yeah.
I think maybe the people from Edges, they have this motivation to build this kind of portal because all the decks from BitShares community, they are honoring Edges and BTS. So maybe some kind of people have this kind of motivation to achieve this kind of portal.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I'll say that. You're talking about the timing being a potential issue, like how you're going to do it, right?
And yes, and another thing we have more clear idea about is the account management and the how should we present the play exchange to games. I mean, we will have a kind of account which is called a CP account. Each CP account will have the authority to create game account which will be a sub account of this CP account, and they can create the asset exchange pair. The assets are from the game assets, the games they are providing. So these kind of exchanges can be built into the game system. I mean, can be embedded inside the games. So in this way, we do not need to worry about the users in some sense. I mean, when people playing games, they can access to the play deck. They can exchange the game coins with against the PRS, and in this way, they can exchange their game coins with the entire game world. I mean, connecting different games.
I'm going to show you something. You got me thinking about that. So you're saying you'll be able to trade these different game coins through an exchange that's embeddable in all of these different games. So you'll be able to push a button and pull up the exchange from any game in the system. And you'll be able to, like, right when you get something, just sell it on the exchange right there.
Yes, as we know, there is already this kind of exchange inside games for some big game, for example, Dota or the World War II. They already have this kind of exchange. They can exchange inside the game, but I mean, for traditional way, people, when they trading this kind of asset, they need to move a third party website, a third party game store. The user experience is not very good because people do not need to, I mean, care about another place. They are playing games and they are doing exchange this inside the games. For normal users, they will not have the idea, to visit another website or another place to exchange the assets they are using. If we put this kind of exchange inside the games, the users do not even need to aware of that. They can actually when they play games, they are using Play.
Would that require sort of work? Every single game that you wanted to put the currency in would require individual work to integrate it into the game.
Yes, so we will provide ways for game, especially for game providers. They can directly integrate this kind of exchange inside their games.
Will games companies want to do that? Because it's kind of like a shadow economy. They're going to want everybody using the currency inside their games rather than an external currency. So are they going to be motivated to develop that?
One motivation for them to integrate is that in this way they can have players to earn money by playing games, and they can have ways to exchange assets against other assets. For most game assets, they are in a dilution model, so they may not have strong motivation to do that. But if we already have such more and more content providers join us, the left will considering that this kind of network effect they can give after they join this, because users will considering why your game asset cannot trade with PRS or cannot trade with other game assets.
Yeah, I think I see where you're going. I actually am of the belief that if it's done right and the stuff is open source and people will... Adilium, you'd probably be one of them who'd go out and find something like that and tweak it a little bit for your own purposes and then release it and say, I added this because I wanted to be able to do this. You know what I mean? I think that you might find stuff like that happens over time. It would take time though, because the code would be buggy at first, and then it would become more stable, and then somebody would introduce a new bug to it, and it would become more stable over time and more feature rich. So I guess what strategy are you thinking about employing to get this created?
Actually, for the first, before all this happen, we need to have easy way to get CP involved in our deck or our community. So we will have ways for their to share to show their game information or show their game materials. We will provide a way under those game CP account, the content provider account. They will have a way information or something like a URL that can retrieve some data, which is maybe just like HTML markup language that can present their game information in the game deck. So in this way, each game provider will considering that they can show their game information without any disadvantage. For them, this is a plus for them, and there's no gap.
I guess I'm trying to figure out what you mean by there's not going to be a gap.
For the game providers, they will be very easy to do this.
Okay, and so you guys are planning on really making sure of that.
Yes, just like game providers put their address or their information address on the deck, and people can achieve that or can get their games from the deck. Since it is decentralized, and they can put whatever their information could be, and no blocks. This could be a plus for them. This is the first step, and then there were people from the community will grow and see the potential that put the exchange on these content providers. So I think it is challenging for that, how to get these content providers involved in, because we do not have users. So we do not seriously considering how we could get the game world involved in the play deck idea. And did I express my ideas?
Yeah, it helped, man. I appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead then, since it's going to be kind of like a side topic to it, but there's a lot of user-made content. Like if you notice, I put in curse.com stuff here. And basically people can make their own content. I wanted to let you know, because we're kind of on a similar topic. This might be a little bit of a branch out. I don't know if Adelium knows stuff. He's more esports oriented. I'm more guild oriented. So he might know some stuff that's similar to this for places like where you can download community made stuff that add on to the games. Like they might, you might actually see what you're talking about being implemented, since that might be even possibly monetized. You would see stuff like this growing from the space, where you can essentially sell your content, extra content, for like a very cheap price. And kind of like music, you know what I mean? Like you just have 17 or 20,000 downloads a month of a big game, off of something on a big game, then you're making a decent little bit of money, you know what I mean? But we have that stuff right here. I don't know, can you go to those?
Yes, I understand. So here you are sharing is some kind of add-ons to the games, right? So what I was trying to express is that how the users will use play deck. They would probably using play exchange add-ons, which will be plugged into games.
Now, maybe I missed it. Did you say that there was going to be a way of paying for it? Maybe I just thought that. I'm assuming that there's a way of monetizing this that you guys have thought of.
Yeah, for the plan, for the consensus part, there's no different. It's just kind of ways we are. What will the play deck looks like? How the users or the game world interact with play deck.
This is very interesting, man. So a lot of it's going to depend on how the users decide to make it happen.
Yes.
I'm going to have. Do you guys have any questions about this? This is. I don't even know how it's going to end. Like, this is one of those things. Once you put it into the machine, you don't know what's coming out the other side.
Yeah, in some places it might need cooperation or the help from the games provider. But some game providers will join this vision. They will be excited about this too. Since they are competing with each other, if we can unite these game providers, we can share a very big network effect, since they are using the same network. So in another way, some assets in games, they are maybe not controlled by the game providers. They are kind of, I mean, for example, for Minecraft, people are building materials. These kind of materials, maybe they could have open API for interact with other systems. I mean, that's the approach or the direction of future games. There we could have larger opportunity to. They are already there. We just need to make use of them.
Yeah, it's man. People don't understand how big the play deck can be. I don't think yet. I think that most of the crypto community is just going, yeah, I'm making a casino. And, that's cool. If you've got, especially if you've got well-programmed interface and, it's pretty and you make the games right, you can do decent. But what you're talking about is letting those people and every other kind of game, like, join the same network and benefit off of the network effect together. The sooner they get in on it, the better they are, because it's like, finding a gold deposit. The person who gets there first is the one who makes the most off of it. So that draws them in early on and bootstraps the system, right?
Yes, and another topic I want to talk, because there's no more time, but I want to share maybe in this hangout, is I don't know the ideas about people here about the Ripple model, but they are just treating the gateways like banks. So I'm interested in their model, because the content providers is some kind of not similar to banks. So what's your idea, Fatty, about the Ripple?
I'll tell you the only thing that I'm really, really qualified to tell you is that whoever came out with Ripple was very intelligent in how they came out with it. And I think that the way that they came out with it and owned so large of a portion makes me concerned about it on a philosophical level. But Ripple in general, I mean, they're no dummies. They're capable. They're very highly capable of what they're doing. And if they're gonna make banks, man, then that's gonna be a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? If they're gonna essentially, but at the same time, we also look at the centralization and these are essentially places where that can be controlled now. So I think that there's a place for both of them. I unfortunately think that Ripple might become really, it might dwarf Bitcoin. But that's my thoughts on it, and I could be wrong.
Yes, my idea is about Ripple is I don't like their consensus algorithm, because it is more close, which is not good for the network growing. And as I understand, just like DPoS delegates, the other ones join to this network need to approve by the existing nodes. That's how I understand the Ripple. But the other ways of, providing a kind of just like gateway to the other world, that's something I like in their model. It's just kind of a way to connecting and building the network, make the network grow itself. Anyone can join and the network growing far larger and larger.
Yeah, it's more of a centralized model, right? Like they started out with a large core of their own and then pulled other people in that they accepted later on, right?
Yes, that's the part of their algorithm, the consensus algorithm. I mean, yeah.
Can I
But
ask you a question?
yes, please go on.
At scale, will it become more decentralized?
Which one? More decentralized?
Ripple? Like
No.
like if it's bringing on new nodes, then it should be fine, right? Except for that that it is accepting and denying those nodes. How does that like? That's how that works, right?
Yeah, that's my understanding of report. That might not very accurate, but the nodes controlling the network is centralized in some sense. But the way they open the gateway, I mean, anyone can build a gateway to join this, even though they do not have the control of the network. That's something I do not like. But this kind of gateway others others can easy to join this network. That's something I like. I mean, just like you can create any kind of a CPU account in Playdeck.
Oh, really?
Anyone can make a small game and maybe create a CP account and build in that the exchanges he's using inside his game. So what I want to express is that it is very easy for anyone to have this kind of CP account. Just like report, it is very easy for anyone to build to have such a kind of gateway. They bring down the gap or the requirement of to build such kind of bank for report. Just like anyone bring down the requirement for Playdeck.
Can I ask you a question? Have you thought about the legal side of that? Like, I think it's great. I love the idea. There's going to be more scam, but once you build reputation into the system, it won't matter anymore. But whenever you have these people who create their own IOUs, do you think that regulation's going to snuff it out? You know, like say, oh no, 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 only certain, because that's what I think is going to happen. Just watch and we'll see if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong, obviously. I don't know. Like, you see these people, like when you started out with Bitcoin, people weren't doing things legally. You know what I mean? They weren't doing anything wrong, really. It's just it was outside of the written law in a certain jurisdiction, and they were unable. Like, it would actually it stunted the growth of this, in my opinion. So, do you see the same things for like on that level with these personal gateways?
My point to legal concerns is that we shouldn't focusing on build a protocol, which is like kind of network or tool can be used by anyone. Anyone can join, can make use of it for any purpose. But especially for Playdeck, this kind of IOU could be increase the possibilities of fraud. For these concerns, I think it is reasonable to have this kind of concerns. And the way to resolve that, I think Ripple choose a kind of more centralized way to do that. For Playdeck, I think for game assets or game coins, we shouldn't treat it like kind of IO. It is just like I think for game coins, it's more like, for some games, it's more like goods for people to consume. But for some games, it could be more like coins. So if we cannot define what it is, we do not define what it is. So just let it be. I mean, we are defining a protocol.
So you're building the tools for everybody else to build what they want. This is like Minecraft, and you are just simply rendering the landscape.
Yes, the network, the peer-to-peer network, and the protocol. How should they cooperate with each other? But what they are doing, that is not something we should support or not, or considering. But for for some the nodes or the centralized websites connecting to this network, I think they should consider that. For example, lightweight wallets, which is just like blockchain info to Bitcoin. If there's so many fraud information there, that could be a problem for them.
Gotcha. But I would say that having all these different tools built between DACs will also make it easier overall, right?
Yes, at least it makes something that we cannot imagine before. Now, it could be possible now, yeah, with Playdeck.
Well, yeah, I guess we got an hour in, man, of talking, so thank you for coming on. Does anybody have any other questions, or do you have anything else that you want to say?
Thank you. I see you in next 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question just before you go? Where's all of the information about Play? Have you got started on white papers or anything like that? Because I don't know 100% about Play, so I need to read up as much as possible.
Yes, the BitShares Play white paper is outdated in some kind, so we are writing articles and the ideas, the most recent ideas. We need a version 2 for BitShares Play. And for other ideas, I think Chris offer, he will provide those articles in the coming weeks and communicate that with the community. Yeah, sharing the ideas we are having or we are going to have, all the things we discuss here, to have those on the forums.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
And but you did say, Hack, last month or last 2 weeks ago that the new white paper was going to be out in about 2 to 3 months.
Yes, we will have that. I mean, this we will first write, I mean, maybe several articles, and the white paper will finally be built from these articles. I mean, for the basic idea, it is a kind of store and exchange, and the on-chain games ideas already be expressed in the white paper version 1. So we need to clearly express the ideas and in the exchanges more clearly in the coming white paper.
Hey, thanks, Hack.